Hi, I'm Ally.
I'm Nick.
And this is the But Have You Tried bookshelf. Quick shout out to 92.7 FM Angelica
Woo!
for airing our podcast on the radio, which is really cool.
It is. Do you have like a DJ voice? Like 92.7 on the dial, something like that.
I could like maybe manufacture a DJ
Let's
voice.
do it. Let me hear one.
I'm gonna try like.
Okay.
Hold on, I need to check.
Okay, yeah, think about it.
92.7 Angelica. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I like it. It's mild. It's nice, but it has that edge.
Yes.
I think that's good.
Also, special thanks to 9021 Here We Go on the Radio Meanwhile Network for airing our Goonies episode.
That's right.
What an episode that was.
I know. What a good time. What a good time. Both the 90210 and Goonies feature a character named Brandon Walsh, so it's a perfect.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's
Perfect
really
connection.
funny.
I know.
Every so often, I just like think about that octopus deleted scene.
It's crazy.
And it just like comes over me.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure what the emotional response that I have is, but it's definitely something.
My favorite thing about that episode, and maybe my favorite line of yours on this show, is that he just solved this with the power of dance. I love it.
That's what I saw.
You're right. No, I can't argue with you, but it's very succinct. Gets to the point. Yep.
Anyway, so today is our bookshelf episode,
Yeah.
so hopefully everyone knows what that means.
Yeah.
We talk about all the stuff that we've been up to.
Lots of the stuff. I had to cut mine down. I had a productive month.
Man.
I know. I did a little
it's
vacation.
inspiring.
Thank you. Thank you for being inspired. Yeah.
I took a little vacation, but I don't feel like that increased my reading and watching output really.
All right. Well, maybe you're just a healthier person than I. You're out there,
I guess
bottle feeding crayfish and walking through meadows.
I will say the crayfish have gotten big enough at this point that you can basically just hand them the food and they'll just
take it. Ugh, it's kind of haunting, really. I don't think I'm comfortable with that. Okay. All right.
Anyway.
Yeah.
At the end of our last episode, which was on Spy Family, we said we were going to try and read a little more manga because both of us are clearly guilty of not doing enough of that.
True.
So how did that go? Did you read more manga this month?
I did, but I also feel like I failed the assignment because I did read volume 2 of My Hero Academia.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't think it's ever going to be like a genre that I'm like, yes, or a format. Like, I don't think I'm ever just going to be naturally drawn to manga, but I appreciate it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I liked that. I don't know that it was enough for me to pick up volume 3, but I did read, and this is a cheat.
Okay.
I'm going to count it anyway.
I'm ready for it.
I did read Deadpool Samurai, which is a 2-volume manga series that we have in the collection here. And it was fun. There's a lot of in-jokes about manga and about the companies and things. I felt like the humor landed pretty well. It was a good use of random characters throughout the Marvel Universe. I thought the story was pretty good. I would read more of that, probably, but I'm sort of already in the bag for Marvel characters and stuff. So
that's fair.
That makes the transition a little easier. But just by coincidence, it featured a little mini crossover with My Hero Academia.
Oh.
Volume
that's
2,
really funny.
Yeah, the character of All Might shows up. He calls in for help and he's expecting Marvel characters, but All Might shows up, and so it's kind of like a meta thing. But I was like, hey, I get the reference.
Nice, very
good,
very
the
good.
Only
You did the
reference
homework
that I could have gotten, and it was the right one.
That's perfect.
So yeah, so I did. Yeah, I did.
Excellent. Well, I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
Hopefully our readers are also proud of you.
I
our
hope so.
listeners,
I feel their
say.
pride coming through the radio waves.
Absolutely.
Did you?
So I read the first 5 volumes of
Whoa.
Witch Hat Atelier.
Okay.
Yes. So
Okay.
I feel very, very pleased with myself.
That's good. Yeah.
It probably would have been better if I'd read multiple different series.
No.
But I was just give me the little girls learning to be witches
Sure.
like that.
Sure.
I can handle that.
No, you did. I copped out. You went for it. I think that's very legit. Reading 5 volumes, just boom,
I still
boom, boom.
have 4 or 5 more to go.
Is it an ongoing?
I don't know.
Okay.
I need to find that out and see if we.
There's
if we
no
need
way
to
to
keep
know.
buying.
So
It's a mystery.
yeah,
We're just at the mercy.
I know we are.
What else have you been reading, comics wise?
Oh, comics wise. Well, I did read a lot. Here are some that I'm going to tell you about. Okay, I read a 3-volume series on the character of Cable. Do you know Cable?
I don't think I do.
In the Deadpool movie, he was played by Josh Brolin, who played Brandon Walsh
Oh my
in the
gosh.
Goonies. Look at that connection.
But not Brandon Walsh in 90210.
No, not Jason Priestley. Although, I would take a Jason Priestley Cable. I don't think that would work, but I'd watch it. There is a David Hasselhoff, Nick Fury movie, which feels kind of like a Jason Priestley Cable would have fit into that world, but That's neither here nor there. Pretty solid Cable series. Cable's he's the time traveling adult son of Jean Grey and Cyclops. If you know those characters at all.
Not really.
You don't know Cyclops?
I'm just revealing my inadequacies.
Cyclops is
here.
like an original X-Men. He's got the visor. Nothing?
I don't know that much about the X-Men.
Okay.
I don't understand how, but like somehow I know remarkably little about the X-Men.
Well, here's what happened. Scott, who is Cyclops,
okay,
had a child with Madeline Pryor who turned out to be a clone of Jean Grey. And the baby was Cable, but Cable was infected with a disease by... Yeah. And then in order to survive, he had to be sent into the distant future to be raised in the future. And then he comes back as an adult and interacts with his parents and things. So it's a whole time travel thing, which I like, but it's very complex. I read this because I was going to be on an episode of previously on X-Men, also for the Radio Meanwhile Network. And I had to be like, I do not understand Cable enough to be on this episode. I'm sorry. So
you tried.
I did try.
An effort was made.
So I read that. I read Infinite Frontier by Joshua Williamson, and Aletha Martinez was one of the illustrators on that. She's great. We interviewed her back on the All the Book Show forever ago. She was a lot of fun. But this was a whole massive DC crossover in like the alternate Earths kind of world. So like the Kelvin Ellis version of Superman, who was created by Grant Morrison, the Alan Scott Green Lantern. So kind of like familiar characters, but alternate versions of them.
Got it.
Sometimes these big crossovers are really like muddy, and you're just like, please stop. This one I feel like after you get over the initial like, wait, what, was actually really good. And we do have it in the collection here. So, you know, I would recommend it to people who have some basic understanding of these alternate versions.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good to know.
I read Star Trek Lower Decks by Ryan North. I love Ryan North, his dinosaur comics, things like that. I love Star Trek Lower Decks. This was a mess. Didn't work.
Oh, no.
Didn't work. It was like you love pizza, you love ice cream. You don't want to put those two in a blender. You know what I mean?
But, like, pizza and ice cream is something that I feel that you could predict would be bad.
True. That's
so
true.
Did you expect?
That's a good point.
Were you like, this is going to be a pizza and ice cream situation ahead of time?
No.
It was surprise pizza and ice cream.
It was surprise pizza and ice cream.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, I guess I thought it was more like Oreo cookies and ice cream, which would make a good combo.
Right.
No, but this was definitely a pizza situation because it just... The humor, like Ryan North has a really specific kind of humor, and it's not the humor that's in Lower Decks. I still thought that a marriage of the two could work, but it really was just like not funny.
That's really unfortunate.
The story was okay, but it wasn't funny, and that's like what you need.
Right.
You still haven't done Lower Decks, right?
I still have not.
Allison. I read Blue Beetle from 2006 because the Blue Beetle movie's coming out.
Oh.
And while I don't care about that, I thought maybe reading the Blue Beetle series from 2006 would help me. It didn't.
You still don't care about it?
I don't really. I probably will see Blue Beetle, but no, I don't. I can't. I just can't get there with caring.
You know, I feel like for some reason, just in general, my like enthusiasm for seeing movies that are coming out is just like kind of at a dip. I barely even watch trailers, and stuff will be coming out that I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna see it, but I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna see it.
Yeah, no, I'm the exact opposite. I'm in a movie zone. I wish the theater across the street was still open because I'd be like, boom, 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 let me have it.
I
love
wish
going
that
to movies.
theater was still open. It would make it so much easier to go to the movies.
It'd be nice. It would be nice. The last in the graphic novels that I read was a new YA graphic called Clark and Lex by Brendan Reichs. Pretty decent. It was like, you know, pre-Superman, pre-supervillain Lex Luthor, and they're both like vying for this prestigious scholarship, and it was good. It was good. It was kind of a bratty version of Clark Kent learning to be.
Oh, interesting.
You know, that he's like kind of like the Spider-Man thing of great power comes great responsibility,
right.
and he's like on that journey. I thought it was good. I liked it. I
feel like Clark Kent's character overall is like one of his big things is being nice.
Yeah.
But I do feel like there's a huge potential for like young Clark brattiness.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't really think that... I mean, you could make an argument that the series Smallville is exclusively young Clark Kent brattiness, but as far as comics, I don't really feel like I've seen that much. So I thought I was impressed that it was like a different look at the Clark Kent character, but still feeling right. Like this feels like a part of anyone's journey, and I appreciated them.
We all go through our bratty time.
Yeah. So I appreciated them finding something new in a character that's been around since the 30s, you know?
Excellent.
So yeah, pretty good. Comics for you?
I have to admit that other than Hat Atelier,
but
I have
5
read
volumes.
0 comics. That's true.
5
volumes.
Come on.
Well, and it's like this is me asking myself if I still have this book checked out, and I desperately need to return it. I checked out a She-Hulk comic a while ago.
Okay.
And I was like super excited to read it.
Yeah.
And then I sat down to read it one evening, and it was just like a little bit like dim lighting in the apartment.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like the issue I have sometimes with comic books
Yeah.
is that the pages are really big, but the text is really small. So I'm just like moving my face over
I
it,
see.
like
I see. So you're like an old person.
maybe.
You're like a little grandma.
It has been a while since I've had an eye checkup, so I need to do that.
I wanna look into
But
that.
every time I like need to like get my eyes checked for like driver's license purposes, they're
Yeah.
always like, yeah, you can drive without glasses.
Yeah.
So anyway, but so I feel like I'm always just like moving my face over the whole page, reading the text.
Okay,
and maybe
that's not
it's
how you're supposed to do it.
it's really not.
Huh.
I think maybe that it's because I just like want to be as close to the text as possible to like properly absorb it.
Emotionally or literally?
Emotionally.
Emotionally. Okay.
Emotionally.
Get in there. Yeah.
And so it was like a little dim, and I was just like tired, and I was like, I just can't do this.
Yeah.
And then I just like didn't, even though I had been really
Didn't
excited
do it.
about it, I just like didn't pick it up again.
I know you're not going to know the answer to this, but was it the Rainbow Rowell She-Hulk?
I think so, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I haven't read that either, but I love Rainbow Rowell and I love She-Hulk.
Exactly. So I was like, everything
ready.
about this is going to be good.
It
And
sounds
I-
good. Do you have a tablet or anything like that?
No, just phones and computers.
Okay. Because you can check out graphic novels on Libby, which is the library app. I have Superman Space Age and a Green Lantern checked out right now. And it's really nice like on an iPad or a bigger tablet because, it's backlit and you can see it really well.
Right.
But anyway, just a reminder that you can check out that kind of stuff on Libby. That's
Maybe
where I
I
read
could do
most
that
of
on my
Spy
laptop.
Family.
You know what I found out
You
lately
could.
that
That'd be
blew
weird, but
my
you could.
mind?
What?
You can use Libby in a web browser,
Yeah.
and I didn't know this information.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And it changed everything for me
Yeah.
because now if I'm like doing something on my computer that's not a task that I like really need my brain for,
Yeah.
I can also be listening to an audiobook
Oh.
through my computer.
Okay.
Best day of my
That's
life.
great. Public service announcement. You do have to update your Libby/StarCat password this month in August. It has to be a big, long, irritating password. So don't forget to do that, everyone. But this could be the solution to your graphic novel problem, reading
Yes.
it this way.
I could see it. I
Yeah.
could see it being
Yeah.
helpful.
Okay.
Shall we move on to books in general?
Okay. Sure. What are you reading?
Okay, so right now I am reading a Dorothy L. Sayers book because, of course,
Nerd. Okay.
Caleb and I are on, I think, what's going to be the last of our like extended Dorothy L. Sayers quest.
Yeah.
Because it's the last one that she completed. So unless we like go
Oh.
back and read some of the earlier ones that
Yeah.
we skipped, I don't know. But anyway, it's very satisfying so far because
That's good.
it really feels like kind of a culmination of everything, and a lot of the like relational arcs that have been building up over the previous books are like.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it's just been a lot of fun so far.
But the strength in writing remains right through the finish.
Yes.
That's what you're saying. Okay, because I'm not a huge Agatha Christie fan, but like latter-day Agatha Christie novels.
Didn't she write like a million of them though?
She did write a million of them, yeah, but she has like a Tommy and Tuppence maybe. I think it's Tommy and Tuppence, where she writes like right at the end of her life and her writing career, and it's not strong.
That's rough.
So, but it's nice that
That's
Dorothy Sayers here is.
Yeah,
Keeping
there's
it real.
only like maybe 9 or so of them overall.
Yeah.
So I feel like that helps. And I think the reason she stopped writing them was not because she was like old and died, but because I think the Second World War, timing wise, I think that's the war that was happening.
I see.
And she was kind of like, this feels sort of like frivolous to just be writing these like fun, slightly silly detective novels while this like is happening.
But don't people need some lightness? Don't people
Yeah.
need some? I mean, not to judge the late Dorothy
Right,
Sayers,
right.
but I'm saying,
Yeah, I'm not
sometimes
sure.
that light and darkness helps.
And I know she wrote some like other short stories and stuff.
Okay.
But I'm not sure the full
Okay.
story there. But
Reading Dorothy Sayers.
absolutely.
Okay.
I'm also reading The Defining Decade by Meg J. This is about why your 20s matter and how to make the most of them.
Oh, okay.
It was recommended to me by my sister, who's
Yeah.
also in her 20s.
Yes.
And she was like, yeah, this is so good. It's really interesting. I think you'll find it super encouraging.
Yeah.
And I'm listening to it and I'm like, I'm super glad to know that what you do in your 20s matters. Like, that feels nice to know.
Yeah.
But like, it's emphasizing it to an extent that I'm like, man, the pressure is on now. I can't unknow this information.
True.
So
20s were like that was a huge decade for me. Like finishing college, getting married, like really starting a career, moving around a little. We met when I was in my 20s. Do you remember
that's
that?
true.
Way
And
back
I
in
was
the
like
day?
8.
That's true. That's true. You were. That's true. You were.
It's
But
just
yeah,
funny to think about.
20s is a big year. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. But this is also putting the pressure on you.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I mean, I don't think it necessarily needs to, because a lot of the things I'm like, well, I think I am doing the things that you're supposed to be doing in your 20s. But it's still just when it's like, she's saying over and over again, like, you know, the decisions that you make in your 20s, you'll be feeling the effects of them in your 30s and 40s. And like, if you don't get started on these things now, then later it'll be harder. And I'm like,
Yeah. I mean, you definitely should be saving for the future.
Of course.
Okay. Just making sure.
But
I mean,
also, like,
from my vantage point, you seem like a very successful 20-something.
Thank
So
you, thank
yeah,
you,
you're
thank
welcome.
you.
You're welcome.
So yes, that's what I am currently reading.
Okay.
How about you?
Wait, you didn't say tweet cute.
Oh, that's in my finished
Oh,
category.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. Okay. Let's see. What am I currently reading as of right now? Well, I know I talk so much about comic books, and people... Back in the day on the Elder Book Show, Eric and I talked so much about comic books, we created a spin-off just to talk about the comic books over there.
That's probably
So
a good choice.
It was a healthy choice for us and for the listeners of that show. Wonder Woman. I'm reading Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman goes through so many weird... have you read any Wonder Woman comics? Probably no.
I don't think so.
Okay. There's like kind of the classic Wonder Woman stuff, and then during like... There was this period where it was almost felt like a otherworldly kind of Vertigo sort of like fantasy-esque phase that she went through. The Rebirth stuff tried to sort of get it back into a more like real-world scenario, and I kind of got tired of that too, but I'm like, no, I want to go back and read it. So that's what I'm doing. I'm catching up on Wonder Woman Rebirth stuff, and I'm reading one of my book sale finds.
Oh, excellent.
And that is Lyndon Johnson and the American Dream by Doris Kearns Goodwin. How do you feel about American history?
I mean...
Is that an interest of yours?
It's not like one of the top interests,
Okay.
but I don't find it uninteresting.
Okay. History was one of the first, like junior high or whatever. I was really interested in history and like have remained that way. I minored in history in college and things, and I've always been fascinated by American history and by like presidents in general, though not every president.
Some of them are more interesting
they
than
are.
others.
That's true. And some of them destroy the world. Lyndon Johnson and the American Dreams, though, is one that I wanted to read a long time because Doris Kearns Goodwin is a Pulitzer Prize, like legendary historian. One of her first gigs, like in her 20s, was interning like at the White House, in Lyndon Johnson's White House. And so her interactions with him and her interviews with him are like the most like deep and personal kind of like presidential memoir material that you can get, and it's been really interesting so far. So
That does sound really cool.
Yeah, I'm having a good time with it. I'm just now in the presidential years, so I'm about like at the midway point. So I don't know. He didn't live that long post presidency, so who knows where we're gonna go? But he's just right now in the phase where he's sort of like trying to finish Kennedy's agenda while like getting his own stuff going. It's really interesting. Lyndon Johnson is just an interesting character. I mean, he signed the Civil Rights Bill. It was, mid-'60s was just such a pivotal time, like in the world. It's interesting to read this from somebody with like, firsthand experience of what was going on and true insight into Lyndon Johnson. So that's where I'm at the moment.
I feel like just this conversation has revealed to me how much I don't know about Lyndon Johnson.
Oh, yeah.
So
He's an interesting figure. He really is.
I'll have to do some reading.
Yeah. Well, Bob Caro has a like 5-part Lyndon Johnson biography that's like each one is like 500 pages.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and he's still, I want to say the first one came out in maybe the 80s, and I think the last one is still like due. So this has been like a lifelong thing. So.
I respect that. I feel like that might be a little too much Lyndon Johnson.
It's a lot
for
of
me.
Lyndon Johnson, yes.
It's a lot.
I have Paths of Power, which is the first one, and I've always wanted to read it, and I haven't. So maybe this Doris Kearns Goodwin one is a
like
good
a warm-up
way in
act
because it's one and done.
Yeah. That sounds good.
Okay. And if you have questions about Lyndon Johnson, let me know.
I'll just like at random times come up to you and be like, look, I need to know this information right now.
By the next bookmark, I'll be able to answer all of your Lyndon Johnson questions.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay, so do we want to talk about the things that we've just finished reading?
Sure. What's on yours?
Okay, so spoiler. Tweet Cute.
Oh.
By Emma Lord. Oh my goodness. This is like a YA kind of like realistic fiction romance, which actually all the ones I have on my finished category are in that category. I feel like I just was like, it's like the summer reading program, like ending days, and I was like,
oh my gosh,
feeling a little tired and just needing some like comfort food audiobooks, and I guess this is what I turned to.
I am rarely on the front lines as you are for the summer reading program, but this year, oh my gosh,
it was a really busy year. I mean, it was an awesomely
year. It was
busy
a banner year, really. Like the participation, the programming participation, like everything was just off the charts. But like, I feel like we were all run ragged that 6 weeks. Oh my gosh.
It was like by the end, I could just feel my like left eyelid twitching every 10 minutes or so.
Yeah, people come in as a summer reading program still going, no!
It's time!
Get out of here!
Yes, but so this is it's kind of like a little bit of like a modern day Romeo and Juliet-ish thing,
all right,
but there's
all right.
like not really any sadness.
Okay,
which
less
is
death.
Exactly how I like my
Fewer
Romeo and
tragic
Juliet.
teen
Right.
deaths. Okay.
These two teens are like helping their families run their like business Twitter accounts.
Okay.
And they get into this like whole Twitter rivalry about like
okay.
a possible stolen recipe. And anyway, but they know each other in real life because they go to school together. And so this goes exactly how you would expect.
Okay.
They make a pact to keep warring on Twitter, but just be friends in real life and not take it personally.
Okay.
They fall in love. There's a bunch of family drama.
Beautiful.
Yep.
Okay. That sounds heartwarming. That sounds perfect.
It was a fun time.
Yeah.
I have to say.
Good. Okay.
On the heels of that, I also read A Show for Two by Tashi Bhuyan.
Okay.
This is inspired by the time Tom Holland was like undercover at her high school, and that just intrigued me so much that I was like, I have to read this. Yeah. So basically, it's about an actor that's not Tom Holland, but is similar in certain
basically
ways.
is Tom Holland. Okay.
I think personality-wise, he's different, but like the fact that he's like why he's undercover and that he's British, like those kind of essentials are similar.
So does the main character know this from the get-go, or is this like a reveal?
She discovers it pretty quickly because she's like a big film person, and so she recognizes him.
I see.
And so like she agrees to help him with something and not give away his secret, and he agrees to help her. This also goes exactly where you would expect.
Sure. Yeah.
It was a fun time.
Yeah.
Yeah, minimal on the actual Tom Holland content, but I was just intrigued by the premise, and it delivered. So
okay, all right. It would have been hard, I think, for Tom Holland to infiltrate your home school. I think.
Yeah, that would have been really
hard.
Known that would have been like, who's this guy?
How many? 1, 2, 3? I don't remember him.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I have to say, like growing up in a homeschool group, every time there's like a new family or a new person or something, it's like they don't just slip in quietly. You're like, oh, there's a new person,
a new group.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a world.
I know.
Okay.
And then we go back to like making mud pies on the playground. So, it was all a win. I also listened to The Love Match by Priyanka Taslim.
Okay.
This is like loosely Pride and Prejudice inspired. And we know that
we
I'm
did a whole
always here for that.
We did a whole episode on Jane Austen.
This one was fun. And a lot of the time, I'm going to try and say this without too much Pride and Prejudice spoilers, even though it's been out for, hundreds of years.
Yeah.
When you're reading a Pride and Prejudice retelling, you like know how things are gonna go down more or less.
I do now. I do.
And there's like a particular character who at first you think is nice and ends up being not great.
Okay.
And most of the time when I'm reading a retelling, I know who that is almost right away.
Yeah.
And I know almost right away that they're gonna be not great.
Right.
And it's really hard to like resonate with the character being
Sure.
like, oh, they seem so nice and cool.
Yeah.
But I feel like this one, it actually sold me on like, wow, this does seem like a genuinely nice person. And I was like, I almost don't want them to actually turn out to be terrible.
Yeah.
So that was kind of fun.
What a nice surprise. That's cool.
All right, what things have you finished lately?
Let's see. Lyndon Johnson. No more Lyndon Johnson. I'm sorry. I read one called Rebel Rising. This is a YA. It's a Star Wars. It's by Beth Revis. It is about Jyn from Rogue One.
Oh, yeah.
And it kind of filled in her backstory because you see her as a kid in the movie, and then as an adult, rocking her 20s. Just like boom, boom, boom.
Oh,
and it was pretty good. I liked it for the most part. I feel like where it kind of falls is that it doesn't really work as a standalone novel, and I feel like the best of the Star Trek and Star Wars, or any sort of like this is part of this big franchise and it's a novel, still has to kind of stand on its own.
Right.
And I think, like we were talking about with Fantastic Beasts last time, I feel like without the full knowledge of like Rogue One and all of Star Wars, which granted most people reading the book would have, it really doesn't work like as its own thing. And so like some of her motivations and some of where she ends up in the end just kind of feel like, okay, and Rogue One is
annoying.
not, I saw it the one time, it's not one that I have like this encyclopedic knowledge of. So I felt a little like, okay, but I did enjoy it. I just think it was kind of suffered because it didn't have its own thing going.
That's a little disappointing.
Yeah.
Because I feel like the Rogue One characters are really interesting, and there's a lot more you could do with them.
Right.
That could theoretically stand on its own.
My gosh, trying to get through that Andor series on Disney Plus, I can't do it.
You don't like Andor?
I don't. Do you?
Huh. I haven't seen any of it, but everyone else that I've talked to has been like, yes, Andor, this is
listen,
great.
I know that I'm like in the minority here, but like every couple of months I'm like, all right, let's roll some Andor, and then I'm just like, I just find it really, really boring. So I don't know. I'm sorry, everyone.
I can't speak to this on a personal level, but I am just fascinated by this development. So at some point I'll watch Andor, and then
see what you think.
Then I can finally
maybe you'll like it. My wife likes it. Everybody I know likes it. I don't know. I have a problem.
You just have to be a rebel.
I guess. A Rebel Rising.
Yes.
By Beth Revis. I read one called The Goodbye Coast. This is by Joe Ide. This is an update of the Philip Marlowe character, like Raymond Chandler's Philip Marlowe, classic character. Doesn't work. That's my humble opinion. Doesn't work.
I was so excited for a second. I was like, yeah, I like some Philip Marlowe.
I know. And I think the thing is that character, it reminds me a lot of like the Robert Parker stuff I've read, where your central character has to have like a really distinct personality to kind of like take you through, because most of the time that character is like really your only through line in a series like that. And so I think that like Marlowe has to have this character that just like leaps off the page. And I think that like that wasn't there. You know, the mystery in itself was good, and there were beats and there were reveals that I didn't see coming. But like without a strong central personality, it just felt like, why am I reading this?
Yeah.
It just didn't push me through.
I feel like a lot of mysteries really have to have something like a great character or something to make them shine. Otherwise, it just kind of feels like you're reading facts.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, you're just waiting for the next like development in it, and
it's
it doesn't.
Like just little pieces of information that you're being fed, and you're kind of like, all right, some pieces of information.
Right. Well, it's exactly why something like Columbo, classic TV show Columbo, which you probably haven't seen.
I haven't, but I know what it is.
The gimmick of Columbo is that you see the crime happen, and it's kind of a reverse mystery where you're trying to figure out how he's going to figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that only works if you can really hang your hat or your dusty raincoat on a strong character, because you are compelled by them and not by what's going around. And so I think that's where this book falls flat.
That's unfortunate.
I wish it didn't. The last one I read was this was my audiobook, and it was Diana and the Island of No Return by Isis Saeed. We have this series here. It's like a junior novel Wonder Woman story. It was good. It was nice. It was like a big tournament was happening on Paradise Island, so all these people came along, and now everybody on Paradise Island is like put under this spell, and they're asleep, and Wonder Woman and her two tween friends have to save Paradise Island. So very basic premise. The one complaint I think I would lodge at this is that it's like insurmountable tasks. Let's try this. Oh, that works. You know what I mean? It's like very, like the stakes feel very high, but like everything goes their way.
I feel like it can be really hard to like reach a balance with that, where it's not like,
especially for the age, because this is like 8 to 12-year-olds, you know.
And it's like if it's too hard to actually accomplish anything, it just feels pointless and really bleak.
Yeah,
like the show Arcane is like this, but like you're saying, if on the other hand it's like, wow, this really difficult thing that we solve almost instantly, it also feels kind of like So I feel like finding that balance can be really tricky.
I think what worked for it is that it was like she didn't expect herself to be as good at the things as she was, but like we know that she's like predestined to be Wonder Woman. Like we know that like she has this innate ability and she doesn't know about it yet. So that kind of went a long way with why it worked so well, but there wasn't a lot of like, let's try this, that doesn't work, let's scramble and try this, and oh, that does work. It was really very straightforward.
Okay.
You know. But I liked it, and I'm planning on like listening to all of them because it was a decent, just like the audiobook was good, and I felt like I still was into it.
Nice.
So yeah,
that's good.
Yeah, well, that's it.
That's all you have for books.
Yep.
Well, since you apparently had like a really intense movie watching month, do we want to talk about all the movies that you watched?
I do. Did you have an intense movie watching much, or is this going to be?
I had like I'd say a standard.
There's one on your list here that baffles me, and I can't wait to hear about it. I'm looking at my list here, and I feel like 3 out of 4 of the things I have listed could be the thing you just described. Okay. So I'm interested to hear which one it actually is. Let's do it. It's She's the Man. Is that like Amanda Bynes movie from the early aughts? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Why? Why did you watch that movie?
So I was having a movie night with some of my friends, and we were trying to pick what to watch.
Yeah.
I don't know how this came up as a suggestion. I think we were scrolling through some like streaming platform, and looking at options, and we saw this one, and it's a retelling of Twelfth Night, kind of in the vein of 10 Things I Hate About You.
There it is.
This is why. And I knew about this movie and had wanted to watch it for like a while, like ages ago.
Yeah.
I was like aware of this, but like didn't have the opportunity to see it. And I was like, oh, I've kind of always wanted to see that. So we watched it, and it was full of shenanigans and ridiculousness and cringe. And I did have an excellent time.
Did you? Okay.
It was fun.
All right.
Well, and it was like an hour, 45 minutes. So like not too long, which I feel like a lot of the movies I've seen lately have been really long.
Amen.
And so it was kind of a refreshing change.
Okay.
And like the story of 12th Night is fun. So.
Okay. All right.
Shenanigans ensued.
I guess I couldn't like swear beyond a reasonable doubt that I have seen that movie start to finish, but I certainly know it and remember it at the time. But yeah, that's just a wild pick. That's a wild pick, but good for you.
Thank you.
Good for you. I watched a lot of things in theaters. Going back to our conversation of earlier, a couple things that were not in theaters that I watched. I finally watched Godfather 3. I watched the first two like a decade ago, and it was always like, I gotta watch Godfather 3, and it's like famously not good. Like everybody's like, it's bad, it's not good, and the first two are such, they're constantly on all the best movies ever kind of list. Have you seen them? Probably.
I haven't. Everything I know about The Godfather comes either from You've Got Mail or Zootopia. So exactly.
Yeah. Godfather 1 is just a great movie. 2 I don't like as much, but 1 I really feel like earns that. It earns its reputation. Godfather 3, it was much later than the others. It's sort of like Al Pacino is kind of aged up, and that doesn't really work. And it just feels a little TV movie to me in a way that you don't want when you're coming off what are considered to be like some of the greatest movies of all time.
Right, yeah.
So there's good performances in it. There were some things that I was like, yeah, that is good storytelling. But I understand why people think of it the way that they do. And then I've been on a Jack Nicholson kick. I don't know why. I don't remember why. But we watched Terms of Endearment, which was a huge hit in the 80s. It was like, I want to say it won Best Picture, and I'm pretty sure Shirley MacLaine won like for Best Actress and everything. Terms of Endearment was kind of like whatever. And then we watched The Evening Star, which was a sequel with Shirley MacLaine and Jack Nicholson kind of cameos, extended cameo in it. And I did like that one better, but just as kind of like a whatever throwaway like 90s family, multi-generational family saga. But, I liked them. They were fine. I also watched The Meg 1 and 2, both of them. Have you seen The Meg?
I have not. What is this?
Megalodon, the giant dinosaur shark with Jason Statham.
Now I understand. See, I saw the word Meg and I was like, is this like, is this like a nickname for like Megan or like Margaret?
No.
I don't know.
Megalodon, short for Megalodon.
It's a different take on that, but it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. I just had watched Sharknado 3 for another thing, which was terrible. And The Meg, I really feel like hits the right line of like, yes, this is stupid. We all know it's stupid, but let's have fun.
Okay.
And I feel like, I think if you like that kind of movie, like this sort of like big dramatic disaster movie with a high body count, I think The Meg is a pretty serviceable 1-2 punch here. So I liked it both.
I'm not sure what I would think about this because I really like sharks, but I don't know that I've actually watched any of the like shark movies or that I would particularly
not even
enjoy
Jaws.
I haven't seen Jaws.
The first Jaws is amazing. I think that one holds up.
I would like to see it at some point.
Yeah,
but I feel like it might be hard for me with a lot of the like shark, killing everyone kind of disaster movies because I'm like, but it's just a friend.
Yes. Well, yes. Peter Benchley, who wrote Jaws, like really regretted what the book and then subsequently the movie did for people's perception of sharks. It became like, a shark apologist going out there being like, no, you don't understand. You have to listen.
Yeah. Well, there's all kinds of statistics like vending machines kill more people a year than sharks and stuff like that. It. So, think about that before you go to buy a thing of, peanuts from the vending machine.
Yes. If you watch Jaws, you have to understand that it is not a documentary. It is, in fact, a villainized version of an evil shark coming after people. So that is an important distinction. What else did you watch?
I also watched the 2014 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Oh.
Which I hadn't seen.
The one with like Will Arnett and Megan Fox. And,
yeah.
Ooh.
I'd seen the sequel to it, which I don't know
Yeah, Out
how
of the
that
Shadows,
happened.
yeah.
That I like saw the sequel first and didn't realize that it was a sequel. But I was like,
yeah.
I really enjoyed the sequel, and I'd heard that this one was really just not as good.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed it pretty well. Like there were
Did you?
elements that I was
Okay.
like, all right. But like, I think maybe because I'd heard so much, like, yeah, this one isn't that good. I was like, I mean, hey, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So it was a better time than I expected.
In fairness, I had never gotten through that first movie, and I never watched the sequel, so I don't. Maybe they're good. I truly hate the design of the turtles in those movies.
That's fair.
They're just like big old dump trucks of a design. I don't like it. I don't like it, and I don't know.
I can respect that. I do think Out of the Shadows is pretty fun.
Yeah.
There's this like scene where they're like in a like a trash
Yeah.
truck, and they're like it's like a whole chase scene with them
Okay.
in this, and they're like throwing like manholes as like
Okay.
weapons like during the
That sounds
chase.
fun.
It's pretty fun.
I guess I need to do it. But I'm not in the zone for bad Ninja Turtle movies because I just watched one and it was called Mutant Mayhem, and this is another one, Allie, where I'm going to be in the minority because I really did not like this movie.
Which one is this?
The brand new one.
This is the brand new one.
Yes.
Okay.
The commercials made me feel like this was going to be like a very funny movie, and I did not find it to be funny. And I think the thing that I couldn't get away from was that their personalities, as laid out in the classic song, just weren't there. Like I felt like for the most part, the turtles were pretty interchangeable.
That's weird.
And I think their dynamic is so important to it that I think it really loses something with that. Loved Jackie Chan as Splinter, no complaints. That was good. But this movie, I watched it with my son, and he was also kind of like, whatever. Like, it didn't light his world on fire, you know? So I was disappointed by it. Are you going to see it?
I'm going to see it.
The other new thing I just watched last night was Heart of Stone with Gal Gadot. It's a new like spy thriller. I think the idea is that it would be a series. You know, that this would be a first one.
Cool.
Gal Gadot plays this character who works for this sort of shady spy organization and goes undercover as an MI6 agent. This movie, I feel like the pieces are there, and every scene just goes on for at least twice as long as it needs to. It's like
that's
point
unfortunate.
made next. So I feel like this movie could have been saved in the editing room. There was enough there for me to like watch a sequel when it inevitably comes out, but like I don't know. I wanted to like it so much more than I did. And by the end of it, I was like, please stop.
Yeah, I feel like that premise is definitely a winner. Like
I know. And she's great. She
Yeah.
was good in it, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
She was good in it. It's just that it really, like the script, and I really think it was the editing, just did not serve the fun premise well.
Okay, so here's my important question.
Okay.
Which I kind of alluded to this earlier. I feel like in general, in the last unspecified amount of time, movies have just been gradually getting longer.
Oh my gosh.
And I feel like
Yes.
maybe what kicked it off is Avengers Endgame, because they were like, yeah, we can do a 3-hour movie, surely. And everyone was like, all right. And then it was a huge success. Yeah. And so I don't know if after that everyone was just like, surely it's fine to make a 3-hour movie.
I think it was the Harry Potters. That was the first time I really remember looking at a movie like and being like, oh my gosh. And maybe Lord of the Rings. I mean, you can make the case for Lord of the Rings too,
That's
because
true.
even the non-extended versions of those are a 3-day weekend, you know. So like, I don't know, but it's not good. It's not serving
and
it
like,
well.
I'm okay with something like The Lord of the Rings or even Harry Potter.
Sure.
Or Endgame. I mean, I think Endgame was too long. But,
Yeah.
you know, if anything's going to be that long, something like that, I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's just like everything now. It's just like any movie is like, we can be at least 2 hours, probably pushing 3. And I'm like, no,
I know.
You can't.
So many like 90s, early 2000s, so many of the great movies from that time, like a cool 90 minutes. You know what I mean? Like just boom, in and out, leave you wanting more. But you're right. This is definitely a trend that is not serving some of these thinner movies.
It's like I don't want to be sitting there watching a movie thinking about how long the movie has been going on and how long the movie is going to continue to go on. Even if I'm enjoying the movie, a lot of the time I'll be like, yeah, I'm liking this movie, but I'll still be like, we've been here for a while and I'm getting hungry. Like,
Yeah. I made the mistake of looking at the clock because both my wife and I thought the movie was over, and I looked at the clock and there was 45 minutes left, and it was a harrowing time. It was a harrowing time. Speaking of bad movies, I watched The Haunted Mansion.
Wasn't good?
Not funny, not scary. Yeah. Did watch Oppenheimer. Very good.
Okay.
Great performances. Some of the best acting I've seen in a long time. Have not seen Barbie. Have you done either of the?
I have not.
Allie.
I know.
No, it's okay. It's all right.
Just really missed the boat there.
You did.
Well, again, like the theater on Main Street is not open.
Oh, I know.
And driving 45 minutes to then sit for 2+ hours.
Yeah, that's like
and then drive
3.
45. Yeah, it just feels like a lot.
I get it.
So.
But you had time for She's the Man, is all I'm saying.
Okay, but I didn't have to drive anywhere, and that was only an hour 45 minutes.
All right. Anything else on your movie list? Because we've hit mine.
Okay, I also watched Quantumania.
Ugh.
I enjoyed it.
Did you?
I did it. I did.
Oh, I'm glad.
I
did not enjoy
I didn't
that
have
movie.
any particular expectations. Still haven't seen the middle Ant-Man, but one of my brothers chose this for our movie night, and I was like, whatever, I can roll with the fact that I haven't seen the middle Ant-Man.
There's anything that you missed other than they find Michelle Pfeiffer, and that's pretty
Which,
much...
I mean, is a little important, but I figured out what was going on.
Like they find her. That's all you need to know, pretty much.
I feel like it was kind of a weird Ant-Man movie, but
definitely,
if you forget about the fact that it's an Ant-Man movie, it's a good time.
I can't go with you on that journey, but I think when you look at the first Ant-Man movie and he's like breaking into a house, and this one he's like the messiah of the quantum realm.
Yeah,
it's like, what?
The escalation.
Yeah.
But I had a fun time. I thought a lot of the like weird quantum stuff was just fun, like the like slug horses and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so I feel like that really brought my experience of it up a level.
The visuals felt very like Star Wars Phantom Menace to me. Like, I don't know. Some of it just didn't really gel for me. Loved Michelle Pfeiffer in it. I thought she was like the breakout character, honestly. And Michael Douglas had some cool scenes too. Evangeline Lilly got nothing to do in this movie.
Yeah.
Nothing.
I feel like it did a little bit suffer from just having a lot of characters moving around in a lump. And it's just hard to... It's like, I don't know if you've read the Heroes of Olympus series by Rick Riordan.
No, I haven't.
But it's like the Percy Jackson series is fantastic, and it's usually like 3 characters at any time.
Yeah.
In the Heroes of Olympus series, it's like 7 characters all the time.
Right. This movie also suffers being part of a larger thing because like you really can't... I don't know. And who knows, like all the like personal stuff with Jonathan Majors that's happening right now. Who knows what's going to happen Kang-wise. I feel like his performance in the movie is great, but we know that he's like an ongoing villain, so like what are we really...
It's hard to make it feel like it really achieved that much, I guess.
Right.
But it did make it clear that like even just dealing with him in this quantum realm was a big enough deal to like the people living there.
To the people living there, yes.
So I felt like it wasn't totally like just like, well, that was meaningless.
This is a major spoiler for Ant-Man and Quantumania, so I just want to warn everybody that I'm about to say something that spoils Ant-Man and Quantumania.
Cover your ears if you need to.
I really think the thing that could have saved the movie, kill Ant-Man. I really do. Like the big battle in the end, I thought either he's going to be stuck there or he's going to sacrifice himself to like save the quantum realm.
Well, because there was like a sacrifice moment, but then he's like he
I'm
wasn't
okay.
actually sacrificed, right?
I think that would have given that movie buzz. That would have been something to talk about. And I think like I would be in the position where I was like, but that ending though, wow. But this was just kind of like everyone's fine, including the villain who we'll see in the next film. Someone should have died. Absolutely.
I feel like just straight up killing Ant-Man would be like a really... Like, that's a move with implications in terms of the MCU and stuff.
But I think it sells it because it's like, it's sort of humble beginnings for that character. And he has this big, like, he's a goofy character who has this, like, epic sacrifice at the end. I think it really contextualizes the character for, like, all of his MCU appearances.
And I mean, then his daughter could just be Ant-Man instead.
Exactly. But is there money in killing Paul Rudd in a movie? I'm not sure there is.
Well,
and that's what it comes down to. So, but you can kill Michael Douglas. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I suppose that's fair.
Okay. What other weird stuff did you watch, weirdo?
Okay. I also watched A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood.
I don't know why you said it like that, but how was it?
I just had to.
How was that?
It was good. It was good. I don't know what I was expecting, but it was somehow different from what I was expecting. So this is like the Mr. Rogers movie that's like based on his life, but it's a story.
By this point, I'm just so over Tom Hanks playing real life characters that I can't take it anymore.
What other real life characters has Tom Hanks played?
He played Captain Phillips. He played Sully. He played whoever he played in The Post. I don't remember. Whoever he played in Bridge of Spies, another real life character. So it was like it's like 5 in a row where he's doing these.
Gotcha. I don't think I've seen any of those, so maybe it's like it's still fresh for me.
The Apple movie on the ship, what is that? Greyhound, something like that, was another. He just played so many real life characters in a row that I'm just like, can you just play a guy who like goes to work and like maybe has a wife or something? Can you have a midlife crisis or a late life crisis?
Just more rom-coms with Meg Ryan. That's all we need.
Yes. Call her up.
honestly.
Yeah.
But I was surprised by the extent to which I felt like I didn't think about the fact that it was Tom Hanks. I was just like, yeah, it more or less felt like Mr. Rogers.
Really?
And I feel like I wasn't expecting that because a lot of the time, like any Tom Hanks movie that you watch, like he's playing a character and you know he's playing a character, but you don't at any point forget about the fact that he's Tom Hanks.
He's Tom Hanks, sure, yeah.
And I don't know if it was just because of the like, just like the hair and makeup and everything to make him look more like Fred Rogers or I don't know, but I forgot about the fact that he was Tom Hanks.
That's impressive.
And I was happy about that.
I would watch that movie.
I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. It was a
Okay.
good time. There was a lot of just really like funny and cute moments with just like Mr. Rogers being so like absurdly sweet.
Yeah.
I mean, I loved watching Mr. Rogers as a kid, so it was just like a nice heartwarming throwback.
For sure. Have you ever seen his like speech to Congress about like the importance of public TV?
We watched it right after we watched this
gosh,
movie because we
Mr.
just had to.
Rogers.
It was
What a guy.
It was great.
What a guy.
The fact
Fred
that he's like
Rogers.
talking about what is happening in the like congressperson or like senator or whoever it is like, oh, I'd like to see this program. He goes from being like not sure about this to being like, wait, I need to watch your
let's
show.
watch
And
Mr.
like
Rogers. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. My son liked Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood, which is like a spin-off, like animated spin-off, which I
Gotcha.
feel like does kind of have the core ideas of Mr. Rogers in it. It does feel connected in that way.
That's cool.
So,
Yeah, I feel
but
like that'd
was a
be hard
big-
to
I
pull
was a big
off.
Mr. Rogers fan growing up, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Incredible.
Is that it for your list of movies?
That's it for my list of
Okay.
movies. Since we were talking about killing
But
Paul
wait,
Rudd,
there's more.
this is a good segue into the TV shows because we just watched the first 2 episodes of the new season of Only Murders in the Building.
Was Paul Rudd murdered?
Paul Rudd was murdered.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Like not as Paul Rudd, like
I
he's playing
didn't-
a character, which isn't always a
Okay.
given in Only Murders in the Building because sometimes it's like, oh yeah, Meryl Streep is playing this random woman, but
Okay.
Amy Schumer is Amy Schumer.
Oh.
So you just never
Okay.
know
Right.
with
All
Only
right.
Murders.
All right.
But Paul Rudd was murdered.
Paul Rudd did voice Mondo Gecko in Mutant Mayhem, so a lot of Paul Rudd in this episode is all I'm saying.
There's always a lot of Paul Rudd. He gets around.
He does. Love Steve Martin. I love Martin Short. Cannot get into this show.
I don't understand.
Sorry.
I don't understand
I'm
what your problem
sorry.
is. I don't feel like you've given it like your full like emotional commitment.
Maybe that's true. Steve Martin as a writer, like Shop Girl, The Pleasure of My Company, is so good. Some of my favorites. Neither here nor there. I'm just telling you. He's a great author. So you're into this series?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's great. So I think the episodes are going to be coming out weekly. So theoretically, we'll be like
Old
watching
school.
this for a while. I
Okay.
know it's kind of fun.
I love it.
I feel like more streaming services have been doing that lately, and I never really experienced the thing where you'd like only get an episode per week because we didn't really like have streaming television when I was growing up.
Sure. Or broadcast television,
Right.
apparently. Yeah.
And so by the time, like when it was like whenever we'd be watching a show, just like we'd have a disc with the whole season and we'd be
Wild.
watching it, kind of a situation.
Wild.
So
Okay.
I
So
think
this
it's
is your
kinda
first
fun.
experience with the week.
it's pretty cool.
Okay. All right.
Paces you a little bit.
Steve Martin has said multiple interviews now that this is kind of it for him, like acting wise. Like he's not really planning on doing more. Like whenever this series is over, he's kind of like, "Good night, everyone." So that alone tells me that I have to just like get through it.
I feel like if you power through a few episodes, you might.
I like
you
all
might
the
get
people
hooked.
involved. I like Selena Gomez. You know,
Yeah,
like
she's great.
Yeah, I have to. You're right. You're
Yep.
right. This is
Thank
a me.
you.
This
Thank
is
you
a me problem.
For validating my
This is a
my
me
rightness.
problem. I know that.
So what have you been watching TV show wise?
I finished a few things. So I just watched the season 2 finale of Star Trek: Strange New Worlds. I love it. So good.
I've been hearing so many
I gotta
good
get
things
you
about
on
this.
this show, Allie. If I have to make it a topic for an episode to get you to watch it, I'll do it.
All right.
I'll pull the trigger on that. This was a great season. There was a fun crossover. There was a musical episode. And this was a suitably epic ending to the series.
Excellent.
We got to like the end of the episode and we were like, when does it come back? What? So really good. Really good. I can't. Strange New Worlds, like the writing, the acting, the directing, the visuals. I have no complaints. Versus something like Star Trek Discovery, where I have only complaints. It's a really
Oh dear.
yeah, and whatever the mess of Star Trek Picard the first 2 seasons was, Strange New Worlds.
Hey, the third season was pretty good.
It was, and by comparison, it was like the Mona Lisa because those first 2 seasons were just. Can I say crap on this podcast? Because they were.
I think that's probably
They
fine.
were that. They were crap.
I think we're going with crap isn't a bad word.
It's
for
not
this
a bad
podcast.
word. We're acceptable
Yeah.
in that regard. Finished Grand Crew, which was a 2-season NBC sitcom. Echo Kellum and Nicole Byer. So funny. I loved it. I wish there was more, but I watched the 2 seasons and I liked it. And then I'm still watching One Day at a Time, and we recently got HBO Max for a month. So I started watching the other two. Have you heard of that?
I don't think I have.
A kid gets like sort of Justin Bieber level fame, and his two siblings are the other two and are kind of like dealing with it. So it's funny. It's good. I like it so far. I'm not too deep into it. And I started Mindy Kaling's Velma series, which
How
is
is
like,
that?
it's good. I mean, it's definitely like adult animation. Like, don't be like, hey, kids, there's a new Scooby-Doo show. But I think against the odds, and I shouldn't say that because I pretty much love anything Mindy Kaling writes, but I wouldn't have expected to like it as much as I do, and I really didn't think my wife was going to be into it, but she's like, let's watch more Velma, so
Nice.
yeah, I think it's pretty good.
Yeah,
I think it's pretty good.
That's one that I've been kind of curious about, but just haven't made my way to.
Yeah, it's a good mystery. Not all the characters, some of the characters, especially like, I don't know, Shaggy, they're really like not doing a Shaggy thing with him. Like his personality is very different. And so you just have to kind of be like, all right, you know. But,
just accept it.
Yeah, I do. I like it. Anything else you watch it?
Still going with Superman and Lois.
Love it.
But other than that.
So good.
That's all we need, really.
So good. I know. Are you still in season 2 or how far have you gotten?
Season 2.
Okay.
We just watched the Quinceañera episode.
Oh, ooh, a lot of drama in that episode. Woo!
We started the episode and they were like, "Oh yeah, you know the party's happening." And Caleb, who has seen the show before, was like,
"Yeah, yep, yep." Who knows when Superman and Lois is coming back because of the writer's strike and everything.
Yeah,
like it was already a long wait. Now I feel like it's going to be a longer wait. But yeah, that's rough. Okay, how are you doing with the ukulele?
I've been working on it. I've been possibly like terrorizing my neighbors by like playing it on the like front steps of our apartment.
Okay, that feels very on brand for you. When I picture your life, playing a stringed instrument on a patio or something feels like
that is very like something that stands for my entire life. Yeah, it definitely is very on brand.
I feel like you're just in a rocking chair with like a quilt over you, playing a stringed instrument while Caleb's cooking bagels in the background.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. All right, so you're feeling confident that by our next episode, you're going to be able to play Home on the Range and How's Things?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you toying with any other songs? Like, what are you doing? Are you learning chords, or are you like looking at songs and being like, can I play this?
I'm mostly looking at songs and then learning chords as needed for the songs.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I did.
Yes, and so I've played a little bit of like some like classic Irish folk music because I just
well, that's good. I mean,
that's what I like.
That works. Like the bop of that would work well in the ukulele. So.
And that's also something that's very just on brand for my life. I've also been working a little bit on the song Riptide because that's like such a classic ukulele song.
Sure, yeah.
And my dad helped me a little bit with the strum pattern.
I'm not sure we can allow that. But the
damage
has been done. So
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I find it very just like freeing, very cathartic to just kind of like boom. But there's something about the ukulele, even versus the guitar, that I feel like is just like I'm gonna grab this and be like bum ba dum ba dum ba dum.
Yeah, I have to say every time I like go back to the guitar, I'm like, oh my gosh,
it's so big.
Enormous.
What is this big giant thing? Yeah, it's like a grand piano compared to a ukulele. Well, good. Okay. Well, I'm looking forward to your mini concert next time around. Have you decided what you're gonna throw my way at
Not
the next
yet.
episode? Still in the works.
I have some ideas.
Still in the works. Your eyes narrow.
I'm trying to decide how devious I want to be.
Yeah, I could see that.
Have you been doing just like other fun, exciting general life things?
Well, yes.
You mentioned being on vacation.
I did, yes. My son and I, just the two of us, usually it's like a family thing, but my son and I took a boys' trip, as he's called it, to Jellystone Park in Mansfield, Pennsylvania, which is about an hour and a half from Wellsville. Never been to this one before. Felt a little like the Jellystone that time forgot, but we did some. He called it vampire mini golf because the mini golf really needed some attention, but we had a good time with it.
I thought you were gonna say like because the course was like vampire themed.
No,
because I could see that. I could see like a vampire, like Dracula's castle mini golf.
It's just like if you were gonna have a mini golf course in like a rundown, like closed amusement park where a vampire lived, it would look like this.
Okay.
So
I mean, a little sad, but like could have its appeal.
It was cool. Like Mansfield was kind of a cool town. The cabin was nice. We watched movies. We watched E.T., which he'd never seen before, and so we did some we had some fires. We did some classic things. It was really fun. And then my wife and I went to see Guster, which is a band from like 90s, 2000s, still going strong. Kind of hit it big in the 90s and kept going. One of the best concerts I've ever been to.
Oh, fabulous.
It was so much fun. It was really good. And the music was good. They were good live. And just the whole venue and everything was so much fun.
Nice.
The lead singer did a thing with one song where he had a super long chord and walked through like all the crowd and walked up like into, there was an upstairs part. It was so fun. Gimmicky,
That's
but like
cool.
really fun.
Yeah.
We had to buy T-shirts. That's how fun it was.
Okay.
We had to buy
pretty
overpriced
serious.
T-shirts for a concert. Yeah.
Excellent.
So
Excellent.
the album that I first listened to of theirs is called Omaha, Guster with the Omaha Symphony. Which is, so it's like, you know, live cuts of some of their hits and things.
That's
But
funny.
I've really been enjoying that album, and I've been listening to it ever since. So this is maybe the first time I've been to a concert of a band that I didn't really know, where I'm like, I think I'm into this band now.
Nice.
So pretty successful.
Nice.
Yeah. What about you in your regular world? You doing anything
In
fun?
my regular world, other than ukuleleing on the porch,
Yes.
Caleb and I went to Shakespeare in the Park in Delaware Park last night.
Oh, in Olean? Where is that?
In Buffalo.
Oh, in Buffalo.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So like
So,
legit.
Yes. And my family would often go to this Shakespeare in the Park when I was
Yeah.
growing up, and
Yeah.
his family would often go to this Shakespeare in the Park when he was growing up. And so far as we know, we never crossed paths there, which is just kind of a funny thing to think about.
Yeah.
But his brother is playing one of the Capulets, and so we went to see it. It was a lot
Caleb's
of fun.
brother.
Yes.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
Yes. So,
Nice.
and it was worth the late post midnight return to
bet.
house time.
Yeah,
So, but if
yeah.
I like look a little like puffy eyed today, that's probably why.
Okay.
So,
You need to go back. You and Caleb need to pull all of your pictures from times you went to this Shakespeare thing and see if you could find the other in the background.
honestly, maybe we should.
Because if you could do
feel
that, you
like
could be in like Reader's Digest or something like that.
That's
I mean,
true.
that's too good.
It's just asking for a story,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you have to do this.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll have to search out the pictures.
All right. Shakespeare in the Park. I know ukulele on the porch. Anything
Yes.
else?
So I also took a little bit of like a mini staycation last week as part of the like summer reading program
That's right. You did.
recovery
Yeah,
/
yeah.
wind down.
Yes.
So, which was just really nice and relaxing. And I just
Yeah.
did a lot of like stuff around the house and hanging out with my family and friends. But we also went up to Woodlawn Beach in Buffalo,
Okay.
which is a beach on one of the Great Lakes, but I'm not sure which.
Okay.
And you know how most of the Great Lake beaches are like kind of rocky and like not that beach-like?
yeah.
This one feels very beach-like. Like it's
Ooh.
quite sandy
Okay.
and there's like dunes and some pretty trees and a lot of gulls.
Yeah.
So it was a very windy day and a little chilly, which meant that there wasn't really that many other people there.
Yeah. Ideal.
So yeah, we had a great time and it was
Mhm.
just very relaxing. You know when you're just like around a body of water, you just like feel all of the like
do.
stress
I
leaving
do
your
know
body.
that. I do know that. Yeah.
So that was a good time.
That's cool. That sounds really fun. Have you ever been to Presque Isle in Erie?
I haven't. I want to though.
Yeah, I think you'd like that because it's kind of similar. It's maybe the most ocean feeling beach on a lake that I've ever
Okay.
been to. It feels legit. You know?
Okay.
So yeah, you should check it
I'll have
out.
to check it out. Yeah, that sounds
Okay.
good. I think that's all I have to report.
Okay.
Other than that, our crayfish continue to thrive.
Oh, that's right. That's right. 3 crayfish separated.
Yes. Some
But
of them are
going
very
strong.
big now.
Okay.
So
Did you end up naming them? Because I know
We
there was
did.
concern. Okay.
we have
Let-
Gerald, who's the bully.
Okay.
We have Winona
Okay.
and Michael with an A, who's a girl.
Okay.
Although
like,
we're
like from Star Trek Discovery. You named for Star Trek Discovery's Michael?
no, but maybe.
Okay. Possibly.
We think Winona might be a boy, so it might just be
Oh.
Winnie at this point.
Okay.
We'll see.
All right.
And we had Sadie and Percy, but they were victims to Gerald's aggression, I'm afraid to say.
Oh my gosh, Gerald.
So
So Gerald is the one.
Gerald is the one who's by himself.
He's isolated. Okay.
Winnie
that's
and
better.
Michael are like fine together. They mostly don't mess with each other.
Okay.
Michael is just like absolutely the largest crayfish that we have, but like terrified of everything and everyone.
Huh. Okay. He's
So-
a gentle giant, Michael. Or she.
She is a gentle
She is a gentle giant,
Yes.
Michael. Okay.
So yeah, that's
All
the
right.
crayfish update.
Perfect.
All right, so we'll be back in 2 weeks to find out how I did with the ukulele.
I'm excited.
I'm excited too. Hopefully I'll be up to snuff by then. We'll have to
Yeah.
see.
Okay.
And then, who knows? More exciting
Sky's the
things.
limit. Yeah.
Yes. So thanks for tuning in and have a good one, everybody.
See you next time.